I think we became a little bit complacent over the years. We assumed that things would continue to get better, that our democracy would become more inclusive, that it would become more fair. What we forgot is that history doesn't always move in a straight line, and it's not always 2 steps forward and another 2 steps forward. Precious democracy that we've got is not a given. It's not self-executing. It requires us to fight for it.
President Obama there encouraging Texas Democrats to keep fighting against gerrymandering in their state and urging Democrats across the country to take the initiative to preserve democracy. And back with us now, Megan Hayes and Matthew Dowd. So, Megan, President Obama has been kind of wading back into politics over this last year, of course, endorsing Vice President Kamala Harris, weighing in on this redistricting battle, reaching out, in fact, to a mayoral candidate, which we're going to get to in just a minute. But why now? Is his the voice that has been needed?
I think that the former president, has been doing a lot behind the scenes, and we just haven't been seeing it, right? He's been making these phone calls, just like he did to Mamdani, and he's been making phone calls to other people who are participating in democracy and giving advice as we move through a really tenuous time. So I don't necessarily think he has stepped out. I just think he sort of stepped out of the public eye. But I do think it is important to have a leader's voice right now, and I don't think that people are stepping up in the way that they should be. And I think he is filling that void for a lot of Democrats across the country. So I applaud him for being more forward-facing, especially with the redistricting. It's going to become not just important in this cycle, but as we move into the census in 2030, I think Democrats are going to have a really tough fight on their hands. Yeah, well, as he's alluding to, it's about preserving democracy, because that's big. So, Matthew, as we go off that, California Governor Gavin Newsom was certainly fired up, announcing that California is going to hold a fall special election on a new congressional map. Here's part of what he said this week. Listen up.
Today is Liberation Day in the state of California. And as Senator Schiff said, Donald Trump, you have poked the bear, and we will punch back. And here we are, an open in plain sight before one vote is cast in the 2026 midterm election. And here he is once again trying to rig the system. He doesn't play by a different set of rules. He doesn't believe in the rules. We can't stand back and watch this democracy disappear district by district all across this country.
Of course, this in response to President Trump pushing to get 5 more GOP seats in Texas to keep the Republican majority in the House. Are independent redistricting commissions, are they done? Do Democrats have anything to lose by matching Republican actions and then gerrymandering blue states?
Well, I hope not, Alex. I mean, I actually think the way to go in this is have a national independent redistricting commission that draws federal districts. That is the way to go. And I think what California did before was the way to go at that time. What Michigan has done, independent redistricting commissions, where you get politicians out of drawing lines, and then you draw districts that are actually compact, and the people, there's a sense of why their people are grouped together in those districts. And you have way more swing districts, which means there's way more likelihood that people in a general election, people will show up and their vote will matter because it's not in a deep red district or a deep blue district. But I think in this moment, that the idea of that idea of Democrats doing the right thing in a given state and Republicans rigging it in other states along in our state of our union is a point in time. Democrats can't unilaterally, in my view, disarm in this moment, because if they do, they'll no longer hold power in the House or the Senate as they go forward. So they have to actually meet the Republicans where they are today. But hopefully, over time, we all understand that an independent redistricting model nationally is the way to go.
And Matthew, Megan touched on this, but the New York Times reports that President Obama reached out with advice to New York City Democratic mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani. What does that say about the position of the Democratic Party right now? And does Obama see something in Mamdani that others might not?
Well, first, I'd just add, is former President Obama's voice important in this moment? Yes, but so are so many other people's voices, including everybody that's watching or listening to this. At this moment in time, every single one of our voices is important. Obama's just happens to be a higher priority in this. I think President Obama, who's very smart, but who's very politically astute in this, recognizes that a charismatic leader like Mamdani is beginning to be the future of the Democratic Party. And if you might disagree with some of his platform positions, but he is actually offering a place where it's not just fighting Donald Trump or fighting the Republicans. It is, what can we do to reimagine our cities? or our states or our country. And to me, that's the message as we move forward that has to be grasped. It's not only fight and resist the sort of what people view as the negative of Donald Trump and the Republicans, but present a program, a story that reimagines America, that looks at healthcare differently, that looks at education differently, that looks at crime differently, that looks at the economy differently. And I think President Obama recognizes that at least Mamdani is trying to present an alternative vision.
Megan, good idea for Democrats to embrace Mamdani?
I think that we don't really have a choice of who we're embracing right now. I think that he's one of those people who is inspiring people to get out to vote, and sort of what Matthew was saying. And when you have to reimagine how we look at our cities and reimagine democratic policies, we are a big tent party, and we need people who are going to inspire people to come out to vote, because Democrats need to win. So if he is going to inspire people and meet people where they are, then I think that Democrats should be embracing that. You don't have to agree with everyone's policies all of the time. You need to elect someone. You need to find someone who's electable who will get things done.
Okay, I think you both should come back soon, and so I will see you then. Megan and Matthew, thank you.